This video is made for adult collectors because, monkey. A Studio Series Apelinq was gonna happen, and he was gonna be a partial of the Primal mold because he like shows up, gives exposition, dies. So he's probably not nearly as popular as like anyone else, so getting a new mold wasn't on the cards. But what we got, I'm still not sure about. The new parts are nice, but is there enough of them to justify this? This is Apelinq from Studio Series, the former leader of the Maximals, and I like the new color palette of gray, and more gray. But it's different shades of gray, and that's what makes it look kind of nice to me. And I just noticed this massive scratch on the paint here. That's fun. I do really like the new forearms, the texturing and the battle damage scratching. I like all of that. I do wish there was a better way for his blades to mount on his arms though. You can mount them on the alt mode positions, but they stick out the top and look funky. So what I do is I have them in the hands underslung, sticking out of the arms slightly, but I wish there was a way for me to like tab them into the arms themselves, point it out, then I could still use the hands to like hold the transwarp key or something. Speaking of the transwarp key, he comes with an orange one to emulate the one from the start of the film where it was just an orange crystal. That's kind of cool. He still comes with the chain, which honestly I kind of wish wasn't here, because then they could take the money making the chain and put it towards something else, which is my biggest, pun intended, kind of problem. His size. In the film, he was bigger than Primal, and while we don't ever see his robot mode because he gets filleted before we can, I would assume his robot mode would also be bigger. And this just feels a bit too small next to Primal. I like the new shoulder pads though. I do miss the texturing from Primals, but I like how his Maximal symbol's there, the one that gets ripped off. And I love the new head. I know on Primal they were given art that only had the unmasked head, and that's why he looks like this. And if you really wanted to, you could just swap the heads, but like the gray doesn't match the black then, so it's a bit, you might have to paint it, but it's still a super cool looking head. The blades themselves are nice though. I really like the shaping and the silver and the little bits of detail on them. It's great. So just like Primal, because they're the same mold, Apelinq is extremely posable, and that's one of the good things going for this mold, is that you can pretty much do anything you want, minus an ab crunch. So like the head is on a ball joint and it can rotate left and right. You get a little itty bitty tiny bit of pivot, not as much up as I'd like, but a little bit of up, and quite a fair amount down, honestly, for given how much all the stuff is around here. Shoulders can do a full 360. This one is a little loose on my copy. The shoulder pads can move out. The shoulders themselves can go all the way up. And then you have a backwards butterfly joint as well. That's more for gorilla mode, but like it's there. You have bicep rotation, 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. The wrists can rotate. He does have the 2-finger like bunch ups of the hands, so you can articulate the fingers a little bit. Waist joint. Hips can go forward that far. They can go back only about that far if you want to, like, because the butt gets in the way. But if you move the legs out a bit, you can get them to go further. So there is that. You have outward motion. You have thigh rotation that doesn't really go that far in because of the sculpt and only goes about that far out, which that far out is fine, but I wish you went a little bit more in. That's a little gripe I have. It does have 90 degrees of bend at the knee. However, unlike Primal, my Apelinq, his knees like to just come out a lot. So the tabs aren't exactly the strongest connections in the world here. I wish these were a little bit better, but yeah, my Primal doesn't really have this issue. Like I can bend the knee all day, but here it'll just come out. So yeah, that's a bit annoying. Then the ankles can go down. They can't go up. You do have ankle tilt, and to negate the fact the ankles can't really go up, toe bend, yay. Also, remember to fold the heels out. I always forget this step, and I don't know why. But yeah, he's pretty posable. The only thing he's missing really is an ab crunch, but like I don't think he needed one. Also, if you rotate the waist, the hips can go even far forward. So you can, and then you can unpeg the knee to get some double joint action going on. So you can get something like that if you want to. So you can cheat some of the articulation, and he does look quite good. Ow. Oh, that actually hurt a lot. I just scratched my finger on this horn. So yeah, other than the colors and a couple of parts, these two toys are so close that I don't know if it feels worth it to me. So let's see if the gorilla mode changes that. Primal's transformation, well, this isn't Primal. Apelinq's transformation is exactly the same as Primal's. However, the arms do something a little bit different. And by a little bit different, I mean you just don't rotate the wrist swivel. So to start with, I think we'll do the upper torso. So the first thing you want to do is open this section up, and you want to bring this out Fold the head up, rotate it, and shove it back in. Make sure the robot mode head is straight so that it fits. Fold that back up, close that up. We're going to unpeg the backpack and then shift it up. It's gonna go up and over, and this is where this silver paint has chipped. So there's this, get out of the way. There's this little like piece right here, you can see it, this line, that sits on here, and that's what's scuffed it up. Which is funny because on Primal, that same piece is painted, and yet I don't have any scratches on it at all. And I never noticed this like for a little bit, so I don't know if it was me causing it, if it was like that out of the box. I won't be able to tell because like in the box he's packaged in gorilla mode, so like you don't see this part, but that might have been a factory thing, I'm not sure. So you bring this down, you open this up. I find it easier if you just bring it out all the way like that, then rotate it, then fold it down, and it will clip into place. And you take the belly section, squish it in, and it will sort of hug the waist section and plugs the waist joint together. Then we're going to fold up the heels. Then you're gonna take these sections here and bring them out, the little trapdoors on his legs. Then you wanna bring the feet out, the monkey feet out while pushing the robot feet in. And then you want to accordion this whole thing. And then the peg that pegged into the shin is now going to peg into the thigh. So you get that all situated there. Fold the toe in, fold the monkey foot down a little bit, and that's how you do a leg. It's a really interesting like set of steps that unfortunately ultimately leads to that. Like, that's not the prettiest looking thing in the world, if I'm being completely honest. And it's a shame because you do all these really cool steps that just sort of leads to feet hanging out. It's weird. Now the arms, you want to take this section, open it up, bring this section up, take this, open that, rotate this panel 180 degrees, rotate the robot fist, fold this in, and then close all this back up again. Now on Primal, from what I remember, the arms are supposed to be like this with this part inside, but I don't like that. So I can flip them around like this, fold this out, and then you take the blades and then you peg the blades into the underneath here, and that gives you your accurate Apelinq look from the film. And so you just sort of leave them out. It's like an optional thing, sort of. I mean, in the instructions of Primal, from what I remember, you have to rotate or leave the fist like this because this chunky section goes inside. But yeah, I'm going to rotate it this way so that I can have the textured arms facing out, and then you can knock him over. Then you can plug the blades in, and that's your gorilla mode. Yay! I love the new head. They sort of got the mullet going on the top, which is cool. And the blades work so much better here. Though I can't really get the transwarp key to stay in his mouth, which he has it in his mouth for a majority of the time he's on screen. I like the battle damage on the belly. That's a nice touch. The back legs, though, are a little bit messy still. Like, I'm not a big fan of how that works. Like, it's a fine enough figure. I have no massive issues with the base toy, but for like the price and how close this is to releasing after the original's package refresh, I don't know if it's fully worth getting. If you're making a Rise of the Beast shelf, then yeah, obviously, but like for another $55 to get the same mold again with very little change, it's to me. It's similar to the whole 86 Galvatron thing. I like that toy a lot and recommend it, but it's so close to a previous release of the toy and it's just kind of the same thing. Maybe this should have come out a year or two in the future, and then I would feel more likely to recommend it at full price because Primal would have been gone for a while. Apparently you can still find some Primals on shelves, which is why it's like, I don't know if this is really should have come out now or should have just waited. But that's my look at Studio Series Apelinq. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.